Off the coast of the Pacific Northwest, a silent threat lurks beneath the ocean's surface. This is the Cascadia Subduction Zone, a 700-mile fault line stretching from Cape Mendocino, California to Vancouver Island, Canada. This zone marks the point where the Juan de Fuca tectonic plate dives beneath the North American plate. The slow and constant pressure building between these massive plates has the potential to unleash an earthquake of unprecedented scale. The CSZ is a geological time bomb, and its ticking grows louder with each passing year. The Pacific Northwest, home to bustling cities like Seattle, Portland, and Vancouver, sits directly in the line of fire. This region, known for its natural beauty and vibrant culture, faces an existential threat from the Cascadia Subduction Zone. The potential for widespread devastation is immense. Scientists warn that a full rupture of the CSZ could trigger an earthquake surpassing anything in modern history. The Cascadia Subduction Zone is a stark reminder of the immense power of nature. It is a force that can reshape landscapes and redefine our understanding of risk. The communities living in its shadow must confront this looming threat and prepare for the inevitable day when the giant awakens. The consequences of inaction are too dire to ignore. The time for awareness and preparedness is now. Scientists predict that a full margin rupture of the CSZ could unleash an earthquake with a magnitude of 9.0 or higher. This big one would dwarf the infamous San Andreas Fault's maximum potential of 8.2. The ground would shake violently for minutes, not seconds, causing widespread destruction across a vast area. Buildings would crumble, bridges would collapse, and entire communities would be reduced to rubble. But the earthquake would be only the beginning of the catastrophe. The seismic event would trigger a massive tsunami, a series of towering waves capable of inundating coastal areas with unimaginable force. Low-lying regions, including many densely populated urban centers, would be swallowed by the surging ocean. The tsunami would reach far inland, leaving a trail of devastation in its wake. The combined impact of the earthquake and tsunami would be nothing short of apocalyptic. Thousands of lives would be lost, and the economic cost would be staggering. The Pacific Northwest, as we know it, would cease to exist. The potential for devastation is difficult to comprehend. The big one would be a defining event in human history, a stark reminder of our vulnerability to the forces of nature. The sheer scale of destruction would overwhelm even the most robust emergency response systems. The aftermath would leave a scar on the region, both physically and psychologically. The recovery process would be long, arduous, and profoundly challenging. The threat posed by the Cascadia Subduction Zone is not theoretical. Geological evidence, including layers of sand deposits and submerged forests along the coast, points to a long history of massive earthquakes and tsunamis in the region. These ancient events have left their mark on the landscape, serving as chilling reminders of the CSZ's destructive potential. In 1700, a massive earthquake struck the Pacific Northwest, sending a tsunami racing across the Pacific Ocean. Japanese records document the arrival of this orphan tsunami, so called because there was no earthquake felt in Japan preceding its arrival. The timing and characteristics of this tsunami align perfectly with a major earthquake along the CSZ. This historical event, etched in both geological and human records, confirms the reality of the threat. Scientists estimate that the CSZ experiences a major earthquake roughly every 243 years. The last major event occurred over 325 years ago, meaning the region is overdue for another catastrophic earthquake. While the exact timing remains uncertain, the geological clock is ticking, and the probability of a major event increases with each passing year. The historical record provides a stark warning. The CSZ has unleashed its fury before, and it will do so again. Despite the clear and present danger posed by the Cascadia Subduction Zone, the Pacific Northwest remains woefully unprepared for a major earthquake and tsunami. A culture of complacency has taken root, and many people are unaware of the looming threat. This lack of awareness translates into inadequate preparedness measures, both at the individual and societal levels. Many buildings, bridges, and other critical infrastructure in the region are not built to withstand the extreme forces of a 9.0 earthquake. Retrofitting these structures is a costly and complex undertaking, but one that is essential to saving lives and mitigating the economic impact of a major earthquake. The longer the region waits to address this vulnerability, the higher the potential cost in human life and economic devastation. Emergency response systems are also ill-equipped to handle the scale of a Cascadia earthquake and tsunami. Hospitals, fire stations, and other critical facilities are located in vulnerable areas, and many lack the necessary supplies and resources to respond effectively in the aftermath of a major disaster. Communication networks, vital for coordinating relief efforts, are likely to be severely disrupted or completely disabled. Section 5. Crumbling foundations, vulnerable infrastructure. The Pacific Northwest's infrastructure is particularly susceptible to the devastating effects of a major earthquake. Many buildings, especially older structures, were not constructed with seismic resilience in mind. These structures are likely to suffer significant damage or collapse entirely during a major earthquake, leading to widespread casualties. Bridges, particularly those spanning rivers and other bodies of water, are also highly vulnerable. The violent shaking and ground displacement caused by an earthquake can cause bridges to buckle, collapse, or suffer irreparable damage. This would sever vital transportation links, isolating communities and hindering rescue and relief efforts. Essential services such as electricity, water, and sewage systems are also at risk. These systems are often interconnected and rely on a complex network of pipelines, cables, and treatment plants. An earthquake could disrupt these networks at multiple points, leading to widespread outages and service disruptions. The fragility of the region's infrastructure poses a significant challenge. Addressing these vulnerabilities will require substantial investment in seismic retrofits, upgrades to critical facilities, and the development of redundant systems to ensure essential services can be maintained in the aftermath of a disaster. Section 6. A cascade of chaos, secondary disasters. The initial earthquake and tsunami would unleash a cascade of secondary disasters, amplifying the devastation and hindering recovery efforts. Landslides, a common occurrence in the mountainous terrain of the Pacific Northwest, would be triggered by the ground shaking, burying homes, blocking roads, and damming rivers. These landslides could isolate communities, cutting off access to essential supplies and medical care. Fires would erupt across the region as gas lines rupture, electrical systems short-circuit, and flammable materials ignite. With firefighting resources already stretched thin, these fires would be difficult to contain and could quickly spread out of control, consuming entire neighborhoods. The smoke and ash from these fires would further degrade air quality, posing a significant health risk to survivors. Liquefaction, a phenomenon where saturated soil loses its strength and behaves like a liquid, is another major concern. This can cause buildings to sink, tilt, or even collapse. Areas with loose, sandy soils near bodies of water are particularly vulnerable to liquefaction. The damage caused by liquefaction can be extensive and costly to repair. Section 7. Trapped by the waves, evacuation challenges. Coastal communities face the most immediate and severe threat from a tsunami generated by a Cascadia earthquake. The tsunami would arrive within minutes of the earthquake, leaving little time for evacuation. Evacuation routes are often limited and prone to congestion, especially during a mass exodus. Many people may not even receive timely warnings, further complicating evacuation efforts. The demographics of coastal communities exacerbate the challenges. Elderly populations, individuals with disabilities, and those without access to transportation face significant obstacles in evacuating quickly and safely. Tourist populations, often unfamiliar with evacuation routes and procedures, add another layer of complexity to evacuation planning. The lack of adequate vertical evacuation options further complicates matters. In many coastal areas, there are few buildings tall and sturdy enough to provide refuge from a tsunami. This highlights the need for investing in vertical evacuation structures or designating safe zones on higher ground. The challenges of evacuating coastal communities in the event of a Cascadia tsunami are immense. Effective evacuation planning, public education campaigns, and the development of robust warning systems are crucial for minimizing casualties. Section 8. A long road to recovery, economic and societal impacts. The economic and societal impacts of a major Cascadia earthquake and tsunami would be profound and long-lasting. The destruction of homes, businesses, and critical infrastructure would cripple the region's economy. The cost of rebuilding would be astronomical, placing a tremendous strain on government resources and private insurers. The loss of life and displacement of residents would have devastating social consequences. Families would be torn apart, communities shattered, and the psychological toll on survivors would be immeasurable. The social fabric of the Pacific Northwest would be irrevocably altered. The recovery process would be long and arduous, marked by challenges and setbacks. Restoring essential services such as electricity, water, and sewage could take months or even years. Rebuilding damaged infrastructure and housing would be a monumental task, requiring immense coordination and resources. The economic and social impacts of a Cascadia earthquake and tsunami would extend far beyond the immediate disaster zone. The disruption of supply chains, transportation networks, and global trade would have ripple effects throughout the national and global economies. Section 9. The call to action. Building a more resilient future. The looming threat of the Cascadia Subduction Zone demands a comprehensive and sustained response. Ignoring the risk is not an option. The time for action is now, before it's too late. Strengthening building codes and retrofitting existing structures to withstand seismic activity is paramount. This will require significant investment, but the cost of inaction far outweighs the expense of preparedness. Upgrading critical infrastructure such as bridges, hospitals, and communication networks is also essential to ensuring the region can withstand a major earthquake and facilitate a swift recovery. Developing robust early warning systems, conducting regular earthquake and tsunami drills, and educating the public about the risks and necessary safety measures are crucial for saving lives. Public awareness campaigns should focus on practical preparedness steps, such as developing family emergency plans, assembling emergency kits, and identifying evacuation routes. Investing in vertical evacuation structures in coastal areas and designating safe zones on higher ground can provide much-needed refuge from tsunamis. Strengthening coastal defenses, such as seawalls and levees, can help mitigate the impact of tsunami waves. The threat posed by the Cascadia Subduction Zone is real and imminent. By taking proactive steps to prepare and mitigate risks, we can build a more resilient future for the Pacific Northwest and minimize the devastating impacts of the inevitable big one.